From Studio 3 at Buzz TV, it's The Horse's Mouth with Tom McManus.
All right, time now for Up Close and Personal here on The Horse's Mouth. At Tommy Max, of course, at the bar, and brought to our good friends at the Heritage Capital Group and at Farther. This is one of my favorite segments, so let's get right into it. Coach Dave Campo is back to The Horse's Mouth. Hey, Coach, how are you?
I'm great, Tom. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. It's Thursday, as it always is when we film this show, but 3-4 days removed from... Man, the setting was perfect. Sunday night football. The stadium looked great. I was there. You were there. The light show was awesome. Everything was fired up.
Right.
Started off okay, but man, at the end of the day, they just didn't answer the bell to the Cincinnati Bengals. What were your thoughts after the game?
Well, first of all, every game to me is the same. The way you play that particular night is what matters, and it really doesn't matter who you're playing and all the extrinsic things that are out there. Yep. To me, the defense had no answer, and it all starts with the run game.
Yep.
If you can't stop the run, you're not going to be very successful because the biggest plays in the game come off of play-action passes.
You're right about that.
So in the game itself, when somebody loses that thinks they had a chance to win, you can call them whiners or whatever you want.
Yep.
And I'm a little bit like that because the holding call that they had at the end of the ball game, that guy could have gotten an Oscar.
Yeah. He sold it. Hubbard sold it.
And that would not have been called had he not given the Oscar sell.
Yep.
So, I believe we would have won that football game had that not happened. But there are 4 or 5 plays during the game that make the difference, and either you make them or they make them.
The only difference I'd say, the argument to that is refs see it in real time, we see it in slow motion.
Right.
And when you see the tug was quick.
Yes.
He grabbed that outside shoulder just a smidge.
Yep.
But if you see it and the guy goes back, you're
Yep. pulling
out the flag.
Absolutely.
Whether everybody in the stadium agrees or not, this is what I see.
Yes.
I'm supposed to pull the flag. And you're right. That play, we would have won, but there are many more plays prior to that. Our defense, Coach, look, no disrespect to Jake Browning. Nice young QB, throws a nice ball, but guess what? When you have all day long to throw and you got weapons and they're open, you're going to make completions. That kid, other than Josh Allen making some great plays, other than that, he had all day long to throw. And Mike Caldwell and his defense had no answer, like you said, for that whatsoever.
Well, they didn't go after him at all, really.
Yeah.
And that's something that you have to sometime in the game, whether your philosophy is bend but don't break or whatever. When you're in a situation where they're starting to move, it doesn't matter if you let them go all the way down the field and score, or you go ahead and go after them a little bit and maybe they make a play. But they have to make a play in that situation. The way our guys played for some reason in that game started from the very first play of the game.
Yep.
They ran a running play off tackle. We blitzed the nickel inside into the B gap.
Yep.
Gets a concussion.
Right.
Because the guard took it back.
Yep.
But Fatukasi on the nose was responsible for that A gap. He stayed on the center, didn't get off. They run for 7 yards, and now the backside linebacker has to come make a tackle on the thing.
Right.
It started there, then it went to the screen.
Yep.
And our guys have never played the screen well here.
Right.
The screen to me is just like playing a running play.
Oh, yeah.
You've got to have a contained man. You've got to have a guy that takes the next gap inside, which is split those two guys.
Yep.
Trayvon Walker dropped. He went inside the number 2 blocker.
Yep.
There's a lane in there.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Well, if you're in man, it's easy. The screen's easy.
Yes.
But when you're in zone, it's different.
Yeah, it's just like
Then
playing a
you have
running
to
play.
have
You
that,
got gap control, and we didn't get gap control, and we haven't done that very well. Back in the day, and I kind of think that the coaching in the old days is better than it is today. That's just because I'm an old timer.
Yeah.
But we used to have a screen period every day.
Yep, fair.
You have to know how to play. When you put a coverage in, okay, there are special plays.
Yep.
Bootleg,
Yes.
screen. We call them Chinas or delays, where the first guy comes out and stops and the inside guy runs a corner route.
Right.
You have to teach those how to play them in every coverage.
Right.
And I'm not sure
That's
happening
it's
all
not
the
being
time.
retained anyway.
Absolutely.
For whatever reason.
Right.
I just like from a macro, once again, we We weren't physical on defense. Our offense did enough.
Yes.
You score 31 points in a game, you should win the game.
Right.
Or at least be right there.
I agree with that.
You shouldn't lose the game.
Right.
But our defense just not physical. Our offensive line on the interior, not physical.
Absolutely.
Brandon Scherf, who's supposed to be our most violent guy, he wasn't violent at all. Fortner getting pushed around. It's crazy that you think that is a strength, or at least doing a decent job, and then that happens. You're like, guys, where are you?
Yeah,
You know?
I think from a physical standpoint, that's not our strength. On offense, I thought it was on defense, but they just had a bad day.
No, I know.
And when you have a bad run, it's usually somebody getting out of a gap as opposed to just getting his butt kicked.
Yeah, yeah.
So to me, I think it was just a myriad of, when you get into a situation where they're moving the football, sometimes you try to do more than you need to do. Just take care of your own job.
Okay, let me ask, because we often hear about gap integrity and all this stuff.
Right.
Look, you secure your gap to the ball.
Correct.
If the ball goes way over here and my gap's here, I'm not just going to stand there. I'm going to go to the ball. But I got to make sure my gap is secured. Why is that so hard for players to understand?
I think guys see guys, for example, on other teams, the really great players have a tendency to know where the ball's going.
Correct.
Okay.
Right. So they may jump.
They do things that other people can't do.
Right.
Well, it's a game of consistency with the majority of the guys.
Right.
So you have to take care of yours.
Yeah.
And then, for example, if you've got an inside gap and the ball's going wide, you take care of your gap. But then when you run to the football, you make sure you stay inside out on it. That's your responsibility.
Right. Or outside in if you're the other
Or an outside in if you're an outside contained guy.
Right. Right.
So it really comes down to discipline is extremely important in a game of football.
If you go rogue,
defense.
you got to make the play.
Right, exactly.
You're talking Junior Seau.
Oh,
he would always just say his instinct would take over. He'd shoot a gap. He'd jump here.
What's the guy from Miami, the great player for Baltimore, the middle linebacker?
Ray Lewis.
Ray Lewis.
Yeah, same deal.
Ray Lewis ran around more blocks than anybody in the National Football League, and he made 90% of the time he made the tackle.
At the line of scrimmage or near it.
Exactly.
Right, absolutely.
Exactly. So it's a little bit different with how good the player is.
Yep.
Otherwise it's consistency.
All right, let's switch to the offense. Of course, Trevor gets hurt.
Right.
Everyone, it was just so scary. Like you thought he was really. I like to see him walk off.
When he threw the helmet.
Yeah, when he threw the helmet, you knew something was up. But he did have help, and he did put some weight on it, so that was a good thing. You knew it wasn't broken with that, because then you're done. You probably get a plate screw or whatever.
Right.
You're probably done. Would you play him this week? Even if he says, I feel good, I'm healthy, are you playing Trevor Lawrence against the Browns?
Not unless the doctors say he's cleared.
Okay.
If the doctors say he cleared.
Fair enough.
Coaches, I've heard some people on the internet and on the radio and all these different things talk about, well, even if he's close, let's save him for a week.
No.
You don't do that in the NFL.
Right.
If the doctors say he's cleared and he wants to play, he's playing.
Right.
That's it.
And structurally, if it's fine, then it's just a matter of pain.
Absolutely.
And that kid's a tough kid.
Yeah, and
so
that's
if he can
really
play, he's going to play.
Yeah, if I guarantee you with him, he's like Mahomes.
Oh, yeah.
He's an available guy, and that's important.
No doubt about it.
So I think it's going to come down to if the doctors say, hey, he's cleared, he's not going to re-injure it, we go from there.
All right, as we wrap up, Coach, you've been in this situation as a D coordinator, defensive back coach, head coach. What are you saying to your team the night before the Cleveland game? This is a huge game for this team. What are you saying to them?
Well, every game is huge.
It is.
I mean, this is a playoff run, and unfortunately, I felt they were going to win this past week.
I did too.
And then now you're saying, okay, we got a chance to make a real run here.
Yep.
Well, they still have to make a run.
Yeah.
You got Houston,
they're right there.
Heels.
Indy's right there too.
Yeah, Indy's close. So to me, it's all about. This is a game we have to focus on. We need to do. All we need to do is be disciplined and play the game that we're capable of.
That's right.
And that's all we need to do.
Yep.
Now it's going to be a little tougher if it's a backup quarterback against the number one defense in the league.
Yep.
That's a big concern to me. But at the same time, when you're talking to your team, we can play with anybody in the league. Period. If we do what we're supposed to do.
If our lines take over.
Absolutely. We got to win the battle up front. There's no doubt. doubt about it.
It's old school, but it's going to reign true forever.
You've heard me say it
Forever.
on this show before. It still comes down to blocking and tackling.
It does. 5 games, coach, get playoff ready. Go beat Cleveland.
Right.
However you got to do it.
Yep.
Come home. You got to beat Baltimore.
Right.
You're ready for the playoffs.
Absolutely. The better I always felt that the better the division is, the better you are.
That's right.
You know, if you're playing tough
Especially
games
November,
every week.
December.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And they remember what you do in December
This is where
in
we
the pros.
separate.
In the college, it's what you do in November.
Yeah,
And the pros,
or
it's December.
September, for that matter. We won't even get into college football.
Absolutely.
Coach, always a great time.
Thank you, Tom.
Thanks
Enjoy
so
being
much,
with you.
man. I could talk ball all day long with Coach Campo. We do it every week here on The Horse's Mouth. Make sure you check us out at iwannabuzz.com. Until next time, y'all stay safe, be cool out there. We'll see you right here on The Horse's Mouth. Cheers.
The team at Heritage Capital Group is special because it's a collection of people across the spectrum.
We have people who have been in the shoes of owners that are looking to buy and sell, and professionals that have executed transactions helping buy and sell companies for decades.
I think when you talk to us, see what our experience is, see what our skills are, see the reach that we have, you'll be very happy with the recommendation.